In lessons 1 through 3, we've covered what brand strategy is and how to build out your purpose, your brand promise, your authentic voice. And today is where we start to bring all of these weighty concepts to life. How does your brand look and feel? How are people going to experience it? And how does it reflect a piece of the people who made it? The heavy lifting we've been doing together has been brand building. And of course, branding is a result of that, and that's what we're going to be wading into today. Often when you say brand, people will immediately think of the brand ing. They think of logos and colors and fonts. And yes, these are a piece of your brand, but they come after we've done the heavy lifting. There's a good chance that everything we've covered so far are things you already knew about your business, your organization, your work. But there's so much value in putting them into words and to addressing each piece in turn. There is magic in the order. And good branding doesn't just happen. It comes by the way of having a meaningful, deep, and dynamic brand. And now that you have walked this path, you have your brand purpose, your brand promise, you've looked for ways to add more personality into what you do. That makes what comes next, the branding, so much more straightforward. It's no longer a maze of figuring out logos and giving lukewarm direction to a designer. You know what you want to communicate. This is just about bringing it to life, translating terms like playful into colors and fonts. This lesson is all about translating a brand strategy into how your brand looks and feels and sounds. And again, resist the temptation to look at the competition because you make the rules. This is about you, your work, your team, your brand. If you give the same word to 10 different people, they will all interpret it a little bit differently. Take a word like minimalist. To some, that means cold or austere. To some, it means clean. And to others, it means soothing or relaxing. It's all about taking your descriptor words from lesson 3 and deciding what that looks like to you. This is how you build an interesting brand because it's a glimpse into how you see the world. As always, there is a worksheet that goes along with this lesson. Head to the notes to get it downloaded. Using your brand personality descriptors on the worksheet, we begin to interpret them in really specific ways. How does your brand feel? And by this, I mean, what is the overall tone and style that you want to take? Are you loud or quiet, direct or subtle, calming or really energetic? Then how does your brand sound? This is primarily copy, anything written, whether that's in an email campaign, on your website, or social media. Explore how you might want to tweak or shift your copy. And lastly, there is my favorite, how your brand looks. I have spent my career merging strategy and creativity. I love seeing brand strategy come to life through photography, videos, short films, animations. So take a look at those descriptor words again, and now start to think of all the places you have these types of media or might want to add these types of media. How can you infuse more personality into your photos and videos? Maybe there are ideas coming to you about how you want to use visuals to bring your brand story to life. For some of you, these lessons might spark an overhaul of logos and copy and visual content. But for others, maybe these things that you've already built still resonate with you. You're just going to go about adding more personality and purpose in subtle ways. Either way, I really hope that you feel excited and energized about what's possible for your brand. And the last piece of the visual brand story puzzle is a brand guide. These are often called logo suites or brand Bibles. And in my experience with small businesses, they're often really bare bones if they exist at all. They only include the bare minimum with a really, really heavy emphasis on logos. And a logo should be something that you're proud of. It should be simple and memorable, but it's not everything. It is not the whole story. Don't make the mistake of asking your logo suite to do the job of a whole brand strategy. It can't. It's a recipe for failure. But when you've gone through the process of fine-tuning your brand copy, your brand content, and your brand logos, the last step is to compile all of this into a brand guide. But let's go beyond the bare minimum. Yes, it should have your logos, fonts, and colors, but also include your brand descriptors with short definitions. Include sample photos to explain the look and feel. And also make sure that you revisit your brand guide on a regular basis, at least every 12 to 18 months. And it actually helps to have the last revision date on the first page of your brand guide. And having this fully fleshed out brand guide is really useful. Anytime you introduce someone to your brand who is going to be doing work for you, if you hire a photographer or designer, this is a document you want to share. But it's also powerful for helping your social media posts look and sound more consistent. Ultimately, it's going to be a useful tool for creating continuity across your brand, from a shop and a website to emails and social media, and even bigger things, events, video series, new photography campaigns. I created a sample brand guide for you so you have a jumping off point as you're putting together your own. If you head to the show notes, it'll be right next to the worksheet download.